For Officer Tom Bean, the massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary left him on long-term disability, but not because he was hurt physically.
What is your diagnosis?
PTSD. I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder was the last thing on his mind last December 14th. Officer Bean, off duty that day, dropped everything when he heard the call for help at Sandy Hook. He came face to face with the horror of seeing the bodies of 20 children and 6 adults. Some kids were still trapped when he got there.
Nothing could prepare you for that. You know, you got teachers and students running out of the school, and the worst possible scenes you can think of. That day killed me inside.
When the school was cleared, Officer Bean broke down in tears, and that night he drank a lot. In the days that followed, things quickly got worse.
I had to stop at the store, and that's when I realized that I was in deep, deep trouble. I looked at everybody in that store like they were going to kill me. I could not get out of that store fast enough.
Describing himself in a fog, he thought about hurting himself.
I was sitting there with a razor blade wanting to cut myself. I didn't want to kill myself, but I wanted to feel something. I had no feeling, no sensation, nothing.
After 6 months, Bean was put on long-term disability. Then a letter from the police chief confirmed he was permanently disabled, and Chief Michael Kehoe suggested possible termination. In Connecticut, one of the problems is this. Workers' comp does cover physical injuries, but not mental health care, including post-traumatic stress. And a bill that would have made that possible didn't get very far in the legislature this year. Bean says the city told him they can only afford to pay him 2 years of long-term disability because that's the length of their policy, despite a police contract that covers the 12 years till he retires. But if he had lost an arm or a leg, he says he could retire with full medical coverage.
The men and women of the Newtown Police Department who did respond that day did their job. They lived up to their end of the contract. It's now time for the town to live up to their end.
Connecticut is one of only a few states that doesn't cover PTSD. Potentially expensive, yes, but unless that changes, some say there may be dangerous consequences.
The last thing you ever want is a first responder getting ready to enter a situation thinking to themselves, geez, I wonder what long-term harm this was going to do to me.
If taxpayers had to front the bill for Officer Bean until his retirement in 12 years, the union estimates it would cost about $350,000. What do Newtown officials think about it? For now, the chief says, the city's been advised not to comment. Susan Candiotti, CNN, New York.